fresh eyes would have helped immensely in cutting back and revising the plans. I mentioned this at a previous meeting, and I heard no comment. What is more alarming is the fact that the additions and fixes were never seen by the planning board, and in my opinion, should have not been implemented without said review. If a planning board is not needed to be told of changes, then who is responsible? And then who approves them? There was certainly need of a new staircase, as the old one was slowly deteriorating, and all agreed for the stairs at the bottom of Cedar and Palisades. If the intention of the new parking lot was supposed to be a logical and attractive means of bringing people to the downtown area, it misses the mark. This is where the good intention and grand design comes to an abrupt ending, and the landslide mistakes were put into motion. There's no need to go over the many cascading failures made over this part of the construction, as I mentioned at a previous meeting. Other concerned neighbors have brought up in detail miscalculations made throughout the construction, pictures that you see, and have shown that there was no need for the additional 2 sets of steps on top of the much needed ones at the corner of Palisades and Cedar. As I mentioned in the beginning, I want to focus on a set of steps added at 83 Cedar. There's not enough time to go over all the blunders made during this project, but this must be discussed. There is no explanation why these steps are needed. As seen in pictures that you all have submitted to the board.
Can you pass those pictures now?
This is important. Bruce spent a great deal of time with my pictures and his to show you the grade, without the steps, weren't needed, could be used. It will show you what I'm trying to say, in addition to which Bruce has mentioned. As seen in these pictures, the slope of the original sidewalk matched the slope of the road. But because of the inserted steps, the constant modifications made have brought unattractive alterations and, bear with me, dangerous consequences. Not to mention an extremely unsightly block of cement. Because of the location and the height of the added steps, when cement was poured in front of the driveway of 83, the slope was graded inadequately, so water streamed down and flowed into the driveway. It was not level, and it was not pitched toward the road. Yet another consequence of poor construction. It was then decided to cut into our driveway for lack of a better idea. I attempted to propose an open grate drain right in front of the driveway to whisk away the water. My suggestion was met with a big fat no. I asked why, and the answer was, too much maintenance. Quote, too much maintenance. I asked again, confused, and was told, quote, it makes noise when your car goes over it. So the driveway was cut, and a small pump was built, so the oncoming water would be diverted down the sidewalk. A simple 2-foot by 8-foot open drain tied into the new drainage system could have simply and quickly solved the water issue. There are more examples to explain, like a 2-foot drop from the top ski jump step with exposed rebar on the side of the steps facing the house. At the time of the cement pour, when this rebar was put haphazardly in place, the thought was to build a decorative wall with a planter. The planter was rejected. Today, carpenters were framing a form of the foundation side, a wall of some kind to finish the steps. It has since been completed, but is incorrect. Again, if a wall is to be built from the steps to the house, where is the water going to go? How deep will this enclosure be? How am I supposed to shovel snow from a decorative hole? If not a hole, will it be another poured concrete block to make up for poor planning? Or will it be another planter that I wasn't aware of? Was the owner consulted? I don't know. I would like to read a quick note given to me from a couple that tried the new sidewalk, if I may. Quote, those steps are just not going to work. Before they built them, we walked up that inclined sidewalk each evening at the end of our walk, and it was manageable. Last night, we walked up the new steps / flat places, and by the time we got to the top, I thought I would croak. It takes much more energy to do steps than to walk up an incline. We walk upstairs in the house all day long, so we're used to it. But that thing outside your house is a marathon. Some heads are gonna roll over this, I fear. Name without. The village okayed this clutter. Now it is the residents' responsibility to maintain it. It gives the impression that the village is dumping these failures off on us. I ask any one of the trustees to please come over to 83 Cedar to see the effect these unnecessary steps have had on a day-to-day decision making, leading to subpar construction. Stand on a top step, look out down Cedar to Palisades, and I assure you, you will feel like you're on a boat due to the twisting sidewalk and steps. Try walking down the 83 Cedar stairs, and you can see for yourself how off-kilter the landing is in front of the driveway. Be careful because the side closest to the house is much lower and you will fall, if you can see in those pictures. The last step is straight, the grade goes into the driveway, hence shorter, longer. Stand by the curve of the street and look toward our driveway, and you can see the contorted and misaligned cement. Not only does this area look terrible, it narrows our driveway and jeopardizes the property. The idea and vision were there. I give that. We needed the sidewalk. It should have been done. It was done. But the plans were made up as the construction went along. Now, after all this time, what we have to show for it is an unfinished embarrassment. The finishing work is only an illusion to hide a poorly conceived plan and an improperly constructed site. What's there is there, and there for all to see. It is an ugly sight that no amount of colored cement or decorative railing could hope to hide the flaws underneath. Thank you. It's a mess. No matter what Mr. Manley says, it is not correct, it is not correctly graded, it was done haphazardly, and someone should be held accountable for it. Thank you very much. Any questions? Comments?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I just think that this whole project, it would be good for us to do a postmortem after it's done and look at how the process went and figure out what kind of lessons that we could learn for other projects.
This is a concern for me, because of all this new construction that both Bruce mentioned and Mr. Manley, especially sidewalk construction. If this is an indication of how it's gonna be done, we're in trouble.
That's what I mean, if we do this and analyze what we would not want to replicate, then we would have that to inform us when we do the sidewalks on Cedar.
What I don't understand, let's interrupt you, I'm sorry. What I don't understand is why isn't there another committee, other than a planning committee, to oversee all of this? To look at the job, the finished job, or nearly finished job, to say, you know what, something's not quite right here. Here, let me review this. People that are experienced and people that are not. It should be an equal amount of people that are professional and just people like me and you. To look at these projects to see if they're done properly, or if they're aesthetically correct. Because that sidewalk is not aesthetically correct, and it never will be. No matter how much reworking is done, planning, railings, paint, anything. It's gonna look what it looks like now, and it's a mess. I'm sorry to be so rude or inconsistent. And I agree
One of the
with
things
the
to
steps,
move forward and figure out what we can do better.
and I appreciate that.
And
We all agree it needs to be done, especially at the bottom, because that was pretty dangerous by Palisades and Cedar.
And can people walk on it right now? It's not supposed to be used, correct?
No.
Right now? No.
there are guards up to keep
Yeah.
it from being
So I
used
don't understand
because
why anyone's giving us any feedback on how it's being used when it's.
People are walking on it. Not only people, skateboarders. Last 2 Friday nights, skateboarders went down there and knocked down all the railings and the cones, broke some of those plastic railings between the cones, and had a grand old time from our stoop all the way down to Palisades. And we overheard a group of 3 kids talking about planning a route to jump from the top of Cedar all the way down to Palisades on their skateboards. This is a disaster. This is gonna be a disaster
Well,
and an injury.
We'll take a look at it, maybe we'll do a site visit,
Thank you.
take another look.
You're also skateboarding in the pool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
speaking of the pool. that was-
What, that's,
Fence is not done yet, but it'll be done before they put in the water in.
No, I know the fence is up, but apparently somebody got in there,
Yeah, fence is not complete.
or it's not.
There's, some sections need to be done.
My name is Christopher Benda, and I also live at 860 Street. First, I'd like to say that I appreciate the effort for the presentation this evening. I just wanted to pose a quick question, kind of going off what others have said, is that why aren't residents given a better voice to discuss these kinds of plans, both positive and negatives, of these public works projects when they're put forth in the planning stages, so that we don't get to situations such as these, where there's issues and after the fact, the things have already been done. And I'm a geologist by training, I'm not a civil engineer, and I would never claim to be, but others who have spoken tonight are qualified to give meaningful advice on matters like this. And I think we, as residents of this town, should have a better voice in talking about these issues. And it seems that more often than not, when these kinds of projects and developments come up, that our voices of residents of this town, many who have been here for over 20, 30 years, seem to fall on deaf ears. I hope that can be changed going forward. And I would like to thank all of you for taking the time to listen to what we have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Bob?
Over down Ogden Avenue, I'd love to get into that one, but I don't even know where to start on it. It's all pitched wrong, you can tell by eye. First, I'd like to, thank you for, putting the white line on Ashford Avenue from the exit of Sawmill Parkway. But it should be extended at least 30 feet. Can I just give you a paper? Traffic committee, one for the man. I gave you this to you. So another 30 feet. It's still out there. Another half gallon of paint wouldn't hurt. I'd also like to thank you for the water main fix on Ogden and Beacon Hill. That's been leaking for 2 years. And I'm working with Con Edison to repave Ogden Avenue from curb to edge of road. Thank you. Now, at the last planning board meeting, a new 8-unit apartment building was proposed for Palisades Street. It was suggested that parking was no problem, that any parking not able to fit on site could use the new parking lot at the DPW site, built at taxpayer expense. I hope you don't consider that at all. Didn't we just spend $250,000 on this staircase that was gonna fill this parking lot down there? In May of 2011, I warned all downtown residents and singled out Palisades Street residents that after Rivertown Square, you're next. This vision plan needs to be readjusted. If long-term residents don't get involved and allow this to continue, don't complain. You're all writing on emails and everything. That's nothing but a paper tiger. If you're not willing to come down here and say something, don't say anything. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bob. Anybody else like to address the board? Adam?
So, thank you, Bob. Reason I'm here tonight, past Night Planner, I got an email today from Kendra, and she asked me to make a phone call. So I was able to get through, and we will have a visit from the Man in Red on December 7th. He will be
That's
coming
great
to town, he'll be showing up at the library to, read, was the night before Christmas. I think that's gonna be at 3 o'clock or something like that, and then he'll stroll up to the tree lighting, and then go down to the firehouse where you can talk to the children about how miserable the middle year. And I just, wanna make sure the word gets out, and, it's always a fun time of year, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks.
Great,
Thank you.
thank you very much. That is good news.
So lucky to have that connection.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody? Okay, consider a motion to appoint Ms. Sue Galloway as a member of the Conservation Advisory Board for a term of 3 years. Donnie, did you want to say anything?
Well, yeah, Sue has been coming to a couple of meetings, she's been very active already, and we're very excited to have her on the CAB. She's a good, energetic.
Energetic participant.
Yes.
Liz, do we need to swear her in before?
No, I'll take care of that.
Great. Okay, so do I have a motion? Deputy Mayor Cassell, second. Trustee Mel, all in favor? 5-0. Consider a motion to appoint Mr. Clay Kaminsky as a member of the Traffic Committee. Police officers Richard Zadakovich and Joseph Palladino as Dobbs Ferry Police Department liaisons to the Traffic Committee, each for a term of 1 year. Do you know Clay?
Yeah, Clay is very good, he's a Maple Street resident, and he's eager, he's willing to roll up his sleeves and get to work, so.
Motion. Deputy Mayor Cassell, second. Trustee Taylor, all in favor? Excellent.
And
Consider.
you could still use more people.
On the traffic committee?
Yeah.
Consider a motion to approve audits 1 and 2 for November 2019 as recommended by the village treasurer. Jeff, any comment?
No comments unless there's questions.
Motion. Trustee Taylor, second. Trustee Gonzalez, all in favor? Consider a motion to approve a request from the Rivertown Chamber of Commerce to place a banner at Cedar and Main Street for the 2019 holiday trolley from November 15th to December 8th.
I designed this, so I'm recusing myself.
Deputy
really
Mayor
good.
Cassell, second.
You
Trustee
can vote for
Taylor,
it, though.
all in favor? 4-0. The minutes from October 29th, 2019. Any changes? Looks good. No comment. Could I have a motion? Trustee Nell, second. Trustee Taylor, all in favor? 5-0. Reports and announcements. Trustee.
Tomorrow night we have nominating committee meeting, and we don't have any interviews, but we're gonna go through, and talk about what we can do to try and get more people in the committees and informing the nominating committee about the other committees, so they know what to look for people. So if any of you guys have needs, if you think we need, I can report that to them. So like traffic.
Yeah, Rob has actually a whole list of, piece of
He must have, yeah, she said she had a bunch of feedback from the chairs,
Yeah.
so, hopefully that can help us move in the right direction. And the Chamber of Commerce has their women's big social event on Thursday night from 7 to 9, at Hotel. And, what else?
That's it.
Oh, wait, the downtown committee, this man, Vinny, he volunteered, to help with the cleaning up the wires project, and so they're supposed to be doing a walkthrough today, or tomorrow morning. Because he works at Con Ed, and he has 2 people from Con Ed coming with him, and they're gonna photograph the parts that seem like dead wires they can be in charge of, and then Vinny's
if I can help with anything.
Thank you.
Oh, boy, can you.
I don't know if I just jumped into a massive
Oh,
mansion.
just
I am actually having one pole, hopefully, there's a pole right next to the building that I'm gonna have taken down. But if I can help, and if I can help push things along, then please let me know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Give your contact.
Get in contact with us.
Please give your contact information, please.
Trustee Taylor?
I don't have anything.
Trustee Gazal?
You know?
I'm sure you're gonna report on the Veterans Day election, so.
Yeah, it was a great one,
So that was
yeah.
every month.
Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I have a couple of things, just some updates, because I know people are interested in the Route 9. Liz, did the letter go out today? Yeah. Yes, okay. The board has sent a letter, to, the New York State Regional Director, who's in charge of pushing along, the Route 9 initiative. And, the petition that was signed, that was given to us last meeting, was attached to this letter, so it did go out today. Thank you. And also, the Route 9 Steering Committee will be meeting with New York State DOT representatives, probably within the next 2 weeks, again, to push this initiative along, so I just wanted to give an update on that. And another thing, what I would like to do, I would like to extend my congratulations to Mayor-elect Vincent Priscilla. And to,
Hard-fought battle.
Man, knocking on doors was a killer this year. And to Christy Nell and Mauro Josie, who were reelected to terms, and, to Mayor Bob, his meeting, just letting you know, his last meeting will be next,
Two
the next
weeks.
2 weeks, so.
Counting the days.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Well, as Trustee Gazal said, we had a great Veterans Day luncheon on Friday downstairs in the fire department. And it was a packed house. And we had many, many veterans there, one from World War II. And we had our own Liz Draper representing the Marine Corps that celebrated their 244th anniversary this year. It was the 100th anniversary of the American Legion. So it's a big day, and I'd like to thank Commander Bill Florin for organizing, recognizing all our veterans, and Abby Cadet, who is our senior advocate here in the village, and everybody downtown at the luncheon. It was really a special day. We also had a big event at the library this weekend with the Diwali celebration, which is a cultural Asian Indian celebration of lights, they call it. And we had a big crowd there also for that. And it was a lot of fun for the kids, very educational, with different events and things held, dances and music and things of that nature, so that was great. The library is also now handling passports. So they had an event, we there for the event on Saturday. But if you need a passport, you can get it now at the library. There's quite a few people that came in Saturday for that, so thank you to all those that put the Diwali event together. It was a nice afternoon there, and also for Elizabeth, who's done a great job, Elizabeth Hudson, director of the library, who's done a wonderful job there since she arrived in the village. So I'd like to take a motion.
We had there was a really cool fall festival that the rec department put on.
Yes.
It was really nice,
A week
2 weeks
ago,
right?
yeah, 2 weeks ago.
That was super fun.
It was actually rescheduled.
Yeah, it was
Because it was
supposed to be
raining.
Halloween, but then it turned into a fall festival, and that was really
That was
great,
nice,
so
too.
tell Kendra.
We had the pumpkin smashing.
That was fun.
Next year, we're gonna have a catapult.
We don't want to lose anybody in the room.
That's what they do in other towns.
Anyway, that was a fun day. Also, Marty Gunther volunteered to do the hayride and tractor
It
take.
was a terrifying hayride.
It
It was
was-
really fast.
Anyway, it was a lot of fun. So I'd like to take a motion motion to adjourn the meeting. Trustee Rizzuto, second. Trustee Doyle, all in favor? Meeting is adjourned.